about it.
Thousands of Tunisians have taken to the streets in celebration following the rest.
Yes, the Tunisians. When are the Americans going to do it? I don't see them taking any streets around here, man. We get about 50 TriMet drivers that take to the streets out of 1,200. Okay, we're back Monday, last day of February. Just came back from Seattle, hang out with my good friends Dave, Chad, and Adron Hall, and now Jeff Welch. And it was a weekend. It was overnight, but it feels like it was a whole week. When I got home yesterday, I felt like I had been gone for a week. I mean, I don't know, it's like an ordeal. I mean, that was a lot of transit, you know. I rode a lot of transit. Look at this fucking... Get out. You had to block us, man, huh? I rode a lot of transit, all the modes, all the multimodal system of the multimodal Seattle. And really enjoyed the transit beer. But man, I was tired. And of course, our train got canceled, and they did not provide us with alternate transportation. And me and Max had to drive. Well, actually, I drove. Max didn't drive, I drove. All the way from Seattle in pouring rain. And then I left my sunglasses in the rental car after I made it all the way home. And so I had to go back to the rental car company. Then I got lost because the rental car company wasn't actually at the airport. So by the time I got home yesterday, I was like, oh man. So in a way, I'm like happy to be back at TriMet. It's like, wow, it's familiar at least. Familiar surroundings. And tomorrow is my big grievance hearing. Step one. Everybody says step one. That's a waste. Nothing ever gets settled in step one. It's like company policy. We do not settle a grievance in step one. Step one is purely a formality. We do it because the contract says we got to do it, but we don't actually do it. You know, we just go there, pretend that we're actually going to be fair. That's what I've been told. I don't know if that's true. This guy that's going to do it, Jay Jackson. Now, I heard that he's going to be the hearings officer for this. And I've heard different things about him. I've heard that he's very fair, and he actually might look at the facts and not just toe the company line. So if he wants to hear the facts, I think I might have a chance. Because if he actually wants to hear the facts rather than just do what he's told, like, oh, do step one, pretend you're listening, say yes all the time, and then, you know, give him... deny it, because that's what they do anyway. I mean, they listen to you like, yeah, you're right, and then, sorry, you're fired. So anyway, I'm hoping that he's going to be different from the rest of them. Somebody here, but you can't know who it is. So yeah, other thing about Jay Jackson. Now, my information had told me that Peggy was one of the reasons she had to leave had something to do with him. Like somebody wanted, I think it was Steve Bantam maybe, wanted Peggy to dump him or something, and she wouldn't do it. So she ended up getting a different job. So there might be some history here. Look at this. What is all this in traffic? Okay, you know, I haven't really pushed this particular issue in all of my disciplinary procedure. But, you know, I have a hard time understanding how the scope of the HR 202 policy is very, very specific. It's very specific. The scope of policy, okay? That is something that defines the rest of the text within the policy. The scope of the policy is very clear. And it defines it as only being these things that are done on TriMet equipment. Now somehow all these managers I've been dealing with have just chosen to ignore that. They just ignore it. Oh, well, the scope, we'll just ignore that section and pretend it's not there. But you see, a lawyer would have a field day. If this were a court of law, you would be laughed out of the courtroom because you would lose. Your own scope of policy defines my behavior as not being covered by the policy. So I don't know how they have just chosen to, well, actually I do know how they've chosen to ignore it, because the rest of the letter is exactly the same way. They just ignored all the previous facts. They just ignored it. They just changed it. Okay, now today we're gonna bust on the cell phone in the pouring rain. It's kind of like snow. They chose to ignore all the facts anyway on my letter. They ignored the meaning of my last meeting. They ignored the fact that the dispatch calls were never a part of this. They just ignore all of this. They just decided, oh, we told you not to do this, Al, and you did it in violation. And it's a complete made-up concept. It's made up. They made it up. They said one day, okay, look, we know we're lying pieces of shit, but we can do that because we're in charge. And I already knew they can do that. I've had many times I've heard about these stories where they can just make up shit and put it. Actually, that was the original. This is an interesting twist in this story because actually, the thing that started me and Ellen in this huge feud was when she told me about the TriMet dirty tricks. Okay, that's how this all started between me and her. And I had the bad judgment to actually record it and put it on the internet. Changed her voice, but that we don't need to go into that because I haven't been able to make it up with her, and I never will, I'm sure. But anyway, that's the irony of this, is because you see, TriMet dirty tricks is what Ellen was telling me about, and it was so fascinating, and I said, no, this can't be true. I gotta put this out there and see whether other people have had this experience. And me and Ellen, of course, it was the end of any kind of cordial relationship, but now we see TriMet dirty tricks in action because I'm getting TriMet dirty tricks. They've just decided with their power to be that, okay, we're going to enforce rules that we never told them about. And there you go. Here's your letter. And up to and including termination, Al. Okay? We never told you any of this shit before. But we got you now because we just made it up. We made up stuff. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it because you're the little grunt and we're in charge. So hopefully when we see Jay Jackson tomorrow, we can enlighten. Maybe he has some piece of enlightenment, some little tiny glimmer of fairness. It's like that trainer that got up in the Sandy Day trial, Stewart, what's his name, Jofi or something, and he actually got up there and told the truth. He actually told the truth. Not like the Morgan who lied. He lied. He said we were all trained to go 5 miles an hour around. That was a lie. He lied. Not one bus driver was ever trained to go 5 miles an hour around a turn. Okay, it never happened. Stewart actually got up there and told it like it is. Nobody has said 5 miles an hour. That's something new. We were all trained to take turns in a reasonable manner, reasonable manner, which is the way it's been done since they invented a transit bus. But Alan lied. We trained our operators to go 5 miles an hour. See, that's just a lie, and all of us operators know that. So we all know by the evidence that sometimes TriMet managers lie. And in the case of my disciplinary letter, they're lying. I'm sorry, TriMet managers. I don't mean to hurt your feelings, and I'm not trying to buck you, but you're lying, and I'm not lying. You're lying. Now, you might be able to pin me to the cross and crucify me, but I know that you're lying, okay? And other people that were involved with this situation know that you're lying. You're lying. You're making this shit up for whatever your purpose is. You're making it up. And when I see Jay tomorrow, I'm going to present that exact argument. So you have advance notice of my argument.